Thank you to Rocket Money for sponsoring today's video. More about them later on. So hey y'all, I'm back with another video. So tonight's video is yet again another Chioma Chats video podcast edition. So by the title, we're going to be talking about Ice Spice, the female rapper whose career literally saw the most exponential growth within the last few years. Ice Spice's career, influence, and interest is literally like to the 10th power. I don't even think I've seen such a quick rise to fame, a deliberate effort of promotion, and a powerhouse push, traditional and non-traditional development of female rappers. Now, it's no secret I am very anal about what I think a female rapper should embody, and of course that's pure talent, good looks, organic growth, and versatility, amongst many other things. But I'll also say I'm not ever mad at a female rapper for having the songs or eras where they do take a more lax approach, focus on fun songs and beats, and show that they can appeal to a general audience. Because I do think that certain types of rap music does not require a niche or a critical thinking audience to decipher certain lyrics. And as we've known, and I've probably said it 138 times, the majority of female rap isn't that. But again, I'm not necessarily mad at that because I do think there's a place for that and there should be. There are other female rappers that I like and they don't give me any type of bars, but they definitely can make a good club song, a good bop, and a good feel-good song that gets you up and moving. With Ice Spice, she is that. But I think what is happening is that we are realizing that relying on gimmicks, beats, and lackluster material can only appeal to audiences for so long. With her newest single, Give Me the Light, it's more than obvious that she may be on her way to seeing the light. And I don't wish bad or want to see the complete downfall of anyone, even if I don't care for them. Like, you know, do your thing. I don't have to listen to you, but this is a social world that we live in that is driven by the media. We are all connected, and at some point we will hear, or at least hear about, these artists who are vessels in an industry that does not rely on real talent or real music anymore. I wanted to unpack how we got here and some of the in-between aspects that have led music listeners to really question or pull away from Ice Spice and artists like her. And I feel that Ice Spice is beginning her flop era. So I've broken this video down into 3 main talking points. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. So my first point is the ploy of privilege. I'm gonna say it again because the first time I said this, although most of my subscribers, and shout out to y'all, shout out to the loyal people, shout out to the people who watch me, and even if you disagree with what I have to say, you still support my channel. But anyway, I'm gonna say this again. Ice Spice's whole entire career is based off of pretty privilege, light skin privilege, and attractability privilege, if that's even a word. All of that and attractability is a little different from pretty privilege because she's pretty in the face, but the attractability is her assets, her body shape, her sexuality, and being able to be drawn to that look. It's like no matter what shade or race you are, if you have this socially palatable body shape or proportions, you still receive some type of privilege from that. Although depending on your skin tone, it could be more or less, you still have a privilege in that. And I think that is true across the board. Whereas Ice Spice, her look is so replicated, and yes, she looks different with the red curly afro wig, and that was something that we haven't seen, so she was able to stand out. But now I just don't think people are mesmerized by her as much anymore. Like, she's been in the public for at this point 2 summers, she's been really popular, and I think enough is enough with a lot of people. And now that we've gone past the look and we say, okay, we like how you look, but what's next? What is next? And the consequential sequence of her is showing that there's not really much there. Let's be honest. Her career has been fast-tracked where she's gotten certain milestones that takes artists usually years to garner. Now we are in the age of social media and virality, so people can go viral one day and be the hottest thing in the next week, and the biggest thing in the next month, and the most permanent thing within the next 6 months. So that is not exclusive to her because we've seen it on other people. However, maintaining that longevity of your momentum and your virality is where people have to see if they're going to get over the hump, and Ice Spice not only got over it, she hurdled it, she pole vaulted it, and basically slingshotted over that to be where she is now. And I'll be real, I don't think she's gonna fall off and nobody's ever gonna hear from her again. But I do think that the hype is dying. The girl has gotten Super Bowl commercials, she went to the Super Bowl and was endorsed. I mean, her face was on the TV screen a few times during the Super Bowl. She's been nominated for awards, she's gotten awards, she's been on magazine covers, she's been on red carpets, huge industry events, and she's gotten a lot in such a short period of time. And she did it off of songs that really are meaningful. And I don't think there's anything wrong with making bops. Some of y'all feel like because I've been critical of female rap music that for some reason everybody has to be lyrical and every song has to showcase their writing talents. I do not believe that, and I've said that from the beginning. There are some artists who their lane is just to make fun, catchy, feel good, upbeat, high tempo music, and that's just their lane. I'm not mad at that. However, if you're just making that, but it's trash, I'm gonna call you out. And I'm gonna say that you have to have other things in your arsenal, and Ice Spice doesn't, and the music industry is shifting. People aren't as mesmerized by bubblegum music. That's why, yes, we have staple songs like the Cha-Cha Slide, or My Neck and My Back, or Soulja Boy Crank That, or any of these that you hear at a cheerleading competition. But a lot of those people are either one-hit wonders or they're one-moment wonders, where they're no longer thriving off of making that type of music. They made it, they had their moment, and now we're moving on. Like, for example, Soulja Boy took over for so long, and most of Soulja Boy's music was fun songs. He definitely had a few songs in there that were a little bit more than just club bangers, like when he did Kiss Me Through the Phone. But is Soulja Boy still relevant in that realm as of now? No. He had his era, his moment, he took over, and now he can enjoy his riches and just live off of that, where I think in recent times he's more known for being funny or active as an internet personality, and then his music. And I think that's where Ice Spice is now starting to transition to. And I think back in the day, artists could have longer waves if they had multiple hits for many reasons. One, there weren't as many artists back in the day. Two, you had to know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody in order for you to make it. Three, that was the more dance and fun era of music and hip hop in the early and mid 2000s. And four, there was more of a barrier between an artist and the fans, where we still sought that mystery of famous people. So when they did drop music, or they did do a magazine cover or an article, or they were on the red carpet, it actually was a spectacle. Nowadays, we don't really care as much. Our attention spans are less, and although we might get a high off of certain people and certain songs, the social pattern that we're in as consumers is only temporarily heralded until we want the next best thing. And I think we are not as easily as impressed as consumers as we once were. So Ice Spice's career has truly been fast-tracked, where yes, she's put out a lot of different songs. They have been fun and catchy. I still thought that Munch was a cool song, but I don't think I've ever really listened to her as is and then said that I liked her so much that she's my top artist. Like, I will never consider her as that, just being real. And she could be a cool person, we could collaborate on something club related, but as it relates to being a versatile, true artist that has musical talent and ability to switch it up every now and then, I personally just don't see it at all. Now, the privilege of her look is obvious. Do I really have to touch on this that much? You look at her, she's appeasing to men. A lot of women want to look like her. She has the shape, the skin color, and the features that is deemed as socially attractive. And if people want to negate that, that creates privilege, you're just being dishonest. Because that's why we see a lot of women running to the table to look like her, and then hoping to garner social privileges and attention from certain audiences, both men and women. I also feel like we're in an era of where sexuality is so big that the more you push the line on shaking your butt, showing off your boobs, dressing super sexy, it may actually work for you. There's been several concert footage of Ice Spice bending over, shaking her butt, swiping her poom poom, and just playing into that. So much so that people came to debate on who did the Ice Spice pose first. This was considered the Ice Spice pose, and people were calling out another female artist, which is Lotto, to say that she was copying her when she did it. And then you saw a lot of people on social media where all they do is bend over, show their clappers hanging out from their skirt or their shorts, and wiping their coochie, and actually posting it on social media. So I definitely think her playing into sexuality played a role in her come up, and I think it's not just for her, but for female rappers in general. A lot of consumers are very tired of this approach because the response in the aftermath is actually negative and places a lot of women who aren't even like this in the same boat just because it's so popular. And then also, her ploy of privilege allowed her to negate actually having real talent. You could say what you want, but I'm never gonna say that this girl is lyrically talented in music. I think she had a catchy hit song, it went viral, and she's been riding her momentum ever since. Simple. That's what it is. And I'm not mad at her, because if I was in her position, I would do the same exact thing. But it's like, at what cost? I do agree if she had a buzz or big moment and making a song like that people liked, then a lot of her following songs are going to be similar, because now you have to give the people what they like. But that's the catch. It's a catch-22 where you blow up for a song that is honestly just for fun, and now you're stuck making music that's only just for fun. And because people are not always going to want to have fun, or people are just human, the same old thing can get boring, and that hype does start to plummet, and you either have to go back to the drawing board and adjust, or hope that you still have enough fans that you've garnered all this time that will continue to be there to support you. And I think that she does. I think she has a crazy fan base. When I look at her social media, especially when she was still on the rise, her engagement, the likes that she was getting on Instagram was off the charts. She was getting more likes than established female rappers. She gets millions of likes on just one photo, which not everybody can say that they do. So it was very interesting to see that ploy of her or privilege be there, even though the talent isn't necessarily there. I do think that talent is subjective to a certain degree. There are certain things where people will write it off as talent, and there's certain things where people will say it's not. And when it comes to rap, the crux of it is wordplay, your style, storytelling, and actually writing and using all of the things that you've learned in language arts from kindergarten through 12th grade to come up with your masterpiece. But if you're repeating the same few words and the same subject matter in every song, then clearly your talent is lacking because you might not have the range to do more than what you can. So her recent song that just came out called Give Me the Lights, I turned off the lights. I mean, I blew out the fire. And I was just in Nigeria. It was like NEPA just came and took the light and shut down the whole electricity. Not only did I not like the song, I didn't like the energy that she took on this one. I don't know why she was yelling. I didn't like the fact that I didn't think the sample was used good enough. And I just feel like her subject matter was the exact same. Like, we get it, you look good, you'll take my man, even though you won't, I dare you. And that girls are haters. Like, I'm not mad at that part. I feel like that's typical female rap music. I have songs with similar lyrics, but it's not every song. And that's the problem here. That song, all while not being the best in delivery, was also part 87 of almost every other song that we've heard from her. And it just creates the question of, okay, after 2 years of promoting you, co-signing you, seeing you everywhere, watching your growth, is there anything else you can do other than say these types of lyrics? And I know that she's gearing up to drop an album, and if this was supposed to be one of the lead singles to appear on the album, I think she's in trouble. Her fans will obviously be there to buy and stream the album, not negating that, but the song itself did not hit. I didn't see any positive comments about the song on social media, and me personally, I just wasn't feeling it. And I'm not that biased. I can say that Ice Spice is just this, that, and the third and the fourth, but if she would have dropped a banger, I would have told y'all that it's a banger. Same way with Sexy Red. I don't really care for Sexy Red, but she has a few songs that are bangers, and I have to be honest about that. And I feel like even with Sexy Red, she's dropping music that I don't care for the imagery and the overall exploitation of Black women's sexuality and this hood girl aesthetic. It doesn't really resonate with me, but I like music enough to say what is catchy and what is not. That F My Baby Daddy song is a banger to me. So with this, if Give Me the Light would have ended up being like something that my foot is tapping, my butt muscles are pulsating, my waist is whining, I would have given it its credit, but it wasn't. It was typical New York drill with a sample. The video was typical Ice Spice, the red wig, showing her butt in slow motion, middle fingers, a whole crowd of people surrounded by her somewhere in the hood or on set. We've seen it all before. And I think whoever is in her public relations or brand development camp has to really consciously tell her that the ploy of privilege will run out if she does not evolve and show her audience she is musically more than what people just think of her. Now, before we continue to point number 2, let's get into today's sponsor, which is Rocket Money. Hey y'all, today's video is sponsored by Rocket Money, and anything dealing with money, y'all gotta tune in. So I've been telling y'all that I want to move out. I do not like living in Ohio, and I've been looking at different places. I've been looking at Texas, still kind of stuck between Dallas and Houston, and I've also actually been looking at Atlanta. I know that's a surprise. So with this big move coming up, I've been trying to get on top of my finances, and that's where Rocket Money comes in. So Rocket Money is an all-in-one financial platform that helps you spend less and save more. I recently found out that I was being charged for a whole bunch of subscriptions that I don't even use. Like, I barely watch certain shows unless that show is on, and some of these shows are seasonal, and I always forget to cancel my subscription after I'm done watching the show. Like, literally, I only pay for ESPN Plus and Fubo during football season, and we're almost to summer now, so what have I been doing? Rocket Money is the personal finance app that helps you cancel subscriptions, which I definitely needed to do, and also help you to get that financial freedom, because in today's economy, every dollar does matter. So yes, I've been using them to cancel subscriptions, but they also have features to help with budgeting and analyze your spending habits, and even lowering some of those bills that never seem to be going anywhere. And you can do that simply by uploading your bill and tapping on a few buttons, and Rocket Money will negotiate your bills for you, from internet service to cable and even phone bills. So I encourage you all to take control of your finances today. You can get a free trial of Rocket Money when you sign up using my special link. So you can go to rocketmoney.com/Queen Chioma to get started for free today. And thank you to Rocket Money for sponsoring today's video. Now, moving on to point number 2, the conflicts. This is really where we have to get into it. Now, Ice Spice has been in a few conflicts since she's been popping, and I think this is just typical. I don't think anybody can blow up to this type of superstardom and not have either haters or naysayers or people within the industry who dislike her for any reason. So I've already done a video on this, but she did get into it with female rapper Latto out of Atlanta. And honestly, I think that this song that she just dropped not being received well by the public just proves the fact that Latto is and will always be the better popular artist out of the two. And I think everybody knows that. Everybody knows that Latto has way harder bars. She's been rapping for a long time. She has an authentic and organic come up. And although yes, she does fit the current day female rapper aesthetic and does similar things to Ice Spice, Latto can also put out a body of work that shows that she is talented and has more to offer. And you may be saying, well, what songs does Latto have? But I did listen to Latto's 777 album all the way through, and I was actually impressed by the versatility on there. And when I say versatility, I'm not saying that the songs were slow and conscious and every other song was a club banger. Even though that is versatility, I'm saying that from beat choice to the types of features to subject matters to the transitions of the songs on the albums, something was different with each record. That is versatility. I'm not sure what Ice Spice is going to put on her album, but if I had to guess, I don't think there's going to be songs on there that are super different than one another. There may be difference of samples or beats, but she's known for that New York drill sound and a certain rap flow that is one and the same. And I will say that I think having your staple rap flow is not boring. There's a certain way that everybody's going to rap that makes them them. So it's not really bad to me. But if you listen to 777, you'll see there's a lot of switch up with different songs. So I actually like the album despite it not necessarily being raved or super big. I think Latto did a good job. And she only had but like 10 songs on the project, and I definitely think there was more that she could have done. But for what it was, it did have some type of versatility, which is what I would like to expect from Ice Spice. Now, Ice Spice's project is not out yet, but I'm gonna weigh on the side of it probably won't be too different than what we've heard. But let's just wait and see. But the conflict between her and Latto, I don't even think it's more or less about having beef. I don't even think it's about Latto not liking Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice kind of being under Nicki Minaj in a way, and Latto kind of being under Cardi B, and Nicki Minaj and Cardi B having their issues. I don't even think it's that. I think it's basically like that Spider-Man meme where all of the Spider-Mans are all pointing at each other because they're basically the same, but they're dressed differently, but they do the same thing. I think this is what it's about. Two multiracial women with similar appeals, similar privileges, similar looks, similar raps, similar subject matter, doing the same thing at the same time and feeling like one another is competition, whether one has more talent or less, or more fans or less, or more longevity or less. That's what I think it's about. And I think it's almost like, and I know I'm gonna get dragged for saying this, but bear with me because I don't mean literally. I just want to use this as an example, so please do not drag me. But this is like the whole Drake versus Kendrick thing, not talent-wise, but just popularity-wise. Drake is more popular, more famous, more palatable, more likable in a way, just like Ice Spice. And Kendrick Lamar is more about showing that he's just here to make music. He's been popping for a long time. He is really talented with his body of work. And although yes, he reaps the benefits both financially and socially from his career, he is more about being good at what he does versus being popular for what he does. And I don't think that is Latto all the way, but I do think from watching Latto on the rap game and even before, she does care more about really being a music artist than Ice Spice does. I do think Latto cares about being famous as well, but I feel as though that's where the rift came from between both of these ladies. If I had to pick a side on who is more likable, it's definitely Ice Spice. But if I have to pick a side on who is more talented, it's definitely Latto. Hence why I said I don't have an issue with either artist. I like both artists as is, but I can be honest enough to say what about each of them doesn't work for me either. I don't think they had beef. I think what happened was more driven by fans, and we see that they both have really moved on from it. Now, let's get into Ice Spice versus her old friend Storme. I meant to do a video on this a while ago, but again, I was in Nigeria for almost a month at this point, so a lot of things got messed up. But anyway, Ice Spice had a former friend named Storme who basically came out exposing her for a lot of different reasons. And I feel like this was one of the conflicts within her career that people, although thinking that Storme was wrong and nasty for betraying an old friend and exposing her, people seem to kind of believe what she was saying for some reason. And I think that is because when there's nothing to pin on somebody who is so big and so likable, whatever comes out about them, people want to believe, because as humans, we have this weird notion of if somebody gets too big, too rich, too likable, we want to see them suffer or tremble. I don't get why that is, but it is what it is. And I think that's what happened with Ice Spice. Her old friend saw her as way too successful, felt some resentment about that, put out these text messages that are allegedly her, and then let the general public consume it. Let's get into it. So Storme posted the messages basically expressing that she's no longer friends with Ice Spice. Ice Spice used to be her bully, and then she forgave her and was cool with her after making peace with her after high school. I guess something happened which led to text messages being exposed about Ice Spice's character towards her and others. She accused Ice Spice of being colorist. I'll be real, I didn't necessarily see the direct colorism, but I feel like more of what Ice was saying was, oh, I can't talk about these people because they will attack me, but I do see how that is problematic to say. I'm not gonna read all of those text messages in regards to the back and forth of their friendship because honestly, I didn't really care. I saw a lot of people calling Storme a bad friend and all, and as much as that is true, does it disregard what was exposed? If indeed this is Ice Spice, I think the internet is very celebrity heavy, where where if somebody less famous or less popular has something to say about someone, it's automatically null and void just because your loyalty is to the more famous party in the situation. And honestly, I went to listen to Baby Storme's music. She has some good songs, but I think with her not being a rapper, I'm not that interested. And she's an artist that will have certain people like her, but overall, it didn't really do anything for me. But she does have a lot of engagement for some reason. She even has a song that has almost 800,000 views and a few that have over 100,000 views on her YouTube channel. So she really wasn't lying about her being an actual artist. Of course, she might still be up and coming, but she definitely has her own fan base and makes her own noise. One thing I wanted to address before I got into these text messages was this whole thing about Ice Spice being Nigerian. Now, I remember hearing this and I feel like it was used as a way to tie her to blackness. And as a Nigerian, I didn't even say anything because I was like, well, if she is and her dad truly is Nigerian, then my sister, no wahala. Apparently, this isn't true according to Baby Storm. Allegedly, Ice Spice is not Nigerian. She only said this on Twitter and I think people ran with it. Do y'all believe that she's Nigerian? Let me know. But even her so-called best friend, who was Cleo Trappa, another artist, admitted that she didn't even know that Ice Spice was Nigerian. Baby Storm and Cleo are Nigerian, and I just feel like Nigerians are so boastful and honestly egotistical about being Nigerian. So if you meet another Nigerian, you'll know. And they'll definitely say it off rip. So I'm sorry, Ice Spice, I don't believe you. I think people were just desperate to tie her to black culture, so they went with it. And it's weird, but that's that. Now, getting into the real meat and potatoes of the text messages, there were some that mentioned Nicki Minaj, who collaborated with Ice Spice on the song Barbie World. Basically, Ice Spice calls Nicki jealous and reveals the Barbie World song and opportunity was actually given to Ice Spice before it was given to Nicki, which was a revelation. Here's what they had to say. So Storm says, how'd the call end yesterday? On a good note, Ice says, open-ended again. But then James called me with Nicki's old manager of 11 years and he said she was being unfair, asking for too much, which is what everyone's been telling me, but it's hard to negotiate with her because she doesn't let people talk like lawyers or James, etc. So then Storm says, just woke up. That's just so annoying, bro. Does she not realize that she's asking for too much? Ice says, no, she doesn't think so at all. Storm says, so frustrating. Do you think you guys will be able to compromise? Then Ice says, hopefully, but we're about to put out another record in June for the Barbie soundtrack, which is an opportunity I brought her. She continues, because Barbie asked me to do it alone, but since that's her brand, I invited her on and she doesn't even see that as me bringing her something. She's kind of like my mom, ungrateful and delusional. I cut her off, by the way, not speaking to her until January. Then Storm says, OMG, how does she not realize that? It's not like they initially asked her to do it. That's the thing people always say about her. She'll always think she's doing you a favor. Then Ice Spice says, no, it's that. Plus she wants publishing from all of my songs, including third-party writing competitions. So anything I write for other people or any songs I get on. Mind you, I had a Taylor Swift collab before I had the Nicki one. Then Storm says, is the Taylor collab coming out? Yes, I know. I mean, did your mom do any more annoying-ish, or did you just feel like a break was necessary? Also, bro, now that I'm thinking about it, what you're saying makes a lot of sense. I think we're forgetting that when Nicki was coming up, the deals people were getting at that time, early 2000s, weren't artist-friendly at all. Literally not until recently. So to us, she's asking for too much. But because she's probably used to seeing labels take more, she feels like it's more than fair. It's not right, but she's much older, which is why she feels that way. Not right at all, though. And then Ice Spice comes back and says, and that's basically what she's saying because she keeps saying, oh, when Wayne was signing me, I didn't question, blah, blah, blah. But me and her are in different places in our career when that happened. Like, I'm already signed, so why would I work backwards? And nah, it's just necessary. So then Storm comes back and says, this is the best way I can describe it. Nicki is like those people who believe that kids today shouldn't get student loan forgiveness because they had to pay for it back when they went. And then Ice Spice says, but mind you, we wanted to pay Nicki her artist fee. Yes, 100%. I think she's jealous that I own all of my masters because she said, James, you think you the man and you think you so cool in the interview. I don't know why she mentioned that. Baby Storm says, what? And then Ice Spice replies, and James the one that said I own my masters in the Billboard interview. And then Storm says, it's giving jealous 100%. It's actually sad. And then Ice Spice agrees by saying she's showing it so much. Now, I'm gonna be real. I don't think Ice Spice was dead wrong because if this is indeed true, then I understand her frustration. I love Nicki Minaj's music. I've been a Nicki Minaj music fan since I was like 10 years old, and I think Nicki is the best to do it in female rap ever. But that notwithstanding, if the opportunity was brought to Ice Spice and she invited Nicki, then business-wise, I do think there should have been a different way of how Nicki was going about it. I do believe that these text messages are real because Ice Spice hasn't said anything, and that just may be because she doesn't want to add fuel to the fire, but I think if she did say something, Baby Storm was probably going to release more because there's been 2 waves of Baby Storm airing out Ice Spice. Now, Now, recently there has been this narrative about Nicki Minaj being bitter, jealous, or reluctant to work with female rappers that are up and coming or even established already, for reasons of feeling challenged or feeling that she's owed something because she has to put in more work. And I think I see Nicki's side on where you want people to give you the same respect that you gave to others, but I do think we're in a different day and age where social media is so heavily a part of anybody's brand that nowadays you don't need to do everything that artists had to do back in the day. But if she called Nicki Minaj jealous or bitter or whatever, I think it just plays into the narrative that other female artists have said about Nicki Minaj. I mean, Ruby Rose was exposing her close friends for saying the same thing about Nicki Minaj. Lotto has said the same thing about Nicki Minaj, and other underground artists as well. And yes, I'm a fan of Nicki Minaj's music and honestly her rap career and discography. But in terms of her as a person, if a lot of people are saying the same thing about one person, I'm going to assume that a lot of it might actually be true. But let me know what y'all think. And I know the barbs are gonna come for me, but I just have to be honest. Random side note, I saw a tweet about myself the other day, and it was from a barb page where someone said they assumed me to be a barb, but because I remained neutral in the whole Megan versus Nicki Minaj beef and I was honest about both sides, they were still going to remain subscribed to me. I thought that was interesting because I have never claimed to be a barb. I just show Nicki Minaj her well-due respect as a female rapper who truly is one of the best. And I will forever do that because it is true. Moving on, I don't know if you want to call this Nicki Minaj versus Ice Spice, but the barbs were not happy with Ice Spice once this was revealed and completely withdrew support. And maybe that was Baby Storm's whole point in doing this, to knock her down a notch and give her the conflict that people have been searching for. But I'm not sure how well it works when Ice Spice has really become bigger than probably anybody ever expected, including herself. Now, my third and final point is the real. The last thing I want to talk about is just the real of this entire Ice Spice career line. With Ice Spice's first big single called Munch, she basically categorized herself as that type of artist and essentially restricted herself from coming out of a box. So now she's almost indebted to create repetitive music as it's become her brand identity, and there's a 50-50 chance that music listeners will take a liking to anything different, but also the trade-off that music listeners will become tired of the same old thing. That's why you have to have talent. And I think this recent Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef showed that hip-hop and rap truly only matters when you can be a jack of all trades within it, but also mastering the crux of hip-hop. A lot of new artists, especially on the female side, do not do that. They've come up with this formula where your social and physical assets mean more than your actual talent and musical embellishment. And I've said this so many times in so many different ways that I don't have to touch on that much further. This devotion of promoting artists that are more lighthearted doesn't guarantee longevity in what they're doing. And there's been so many examples of this. Again, I don't think she's gonna fall off completely. I think she's way too big of an artist and has really brought together a fan base for herself that will stick. So did this song flop? Yes, but is her career gonna flop? Absolutely not. But I think musically, people just aren't as mesmerized by it, and rightfully so. I'm actually anticipating what's going to be on her next project because if for any reason the project doesn't do the numbers that it's projected to do, this is a business at the end of the day. Her and her people will go back to the drawing board and try to come back with something bigger and better. Or maybe this is just where she starts to plateau. There's only so much an artist can do to remain relevant no matter what, and there's only a few artists that have withstood the test of time. And those artists are actually talented musicians that have been around for a decade or more. If you notice, most music artists who made a name for themselves off of a viral, catchy tune, dance song, or just something for fun didn't necessarily last 10+ more years, especially not in this newer generation. Again, I don't hate Ice Spice. I think her genre and her niche is what it is, but just being unbiased and directly critical, the real is music is evolving and consumers have higher expectations now that we've been force-fed one-dimensional music content for a very long time now. I predict that Ice Spice isn't necessarily going to fall into oblivion. She's way too big and she's done things that most new artists can't do or won't do. She's had a lot of opportunities and a lot of success and somehow has been able to maintain a fan base even though she has not really evolved at all. So that is it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Please let me know your commentary on my commentary down below. What do you think? What do you know? Let me know. If you haven't already, go stream all of my music. It is back on all platforms, and stay tuned to the end to listen to some of my music, and definitely anticipate some more music coming out this summer. We are definitely doing Afro beats, okay? Stay tuned. And lastly, don't forget to follow me on all of my social media networks, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye, y'all.
All hail the queen, QC, yeah, she is risen. Presents is a gift, so I come with the ribbon. Internet told me stop rapping, I ain't listen to them. No, I really got more bars in the prison system, right? Yeah, one beef, step into the kitchen. Murder flows, you could suspect, I am not the victim. Beat queen, D's on that bitch like we with the Pistons. Red cherry, red bottoms, I know how to pick them. Always got a secret plan, I don't do the fighting. Shorty is a secret fan, yeah, she ghost riding. Brown skin beauty with a booty, showtime. Go off on a tangent, I don't need a cosign. 12 baddies limited, I keep about a dozen. Hot girl straight up out the microwave oven. Gotta bring a chicken man before you get to stuffing. And this beat going crazy, snapping on percussion. Chioma at the top. #1 prospect. Beat from Lakia when she slid on Cosmic. Told him, come here, boo, I'm tryna make your jaw stiff. I got no pics, but I wanna see your pockets. Big glossy lips, tryna melt like a faucet. Big chicken knees, so I put them in a cockpit. Cooking in the studio, call me Betty Crockett. Gingerbread baby running fast like Sonic. It's commendable, was a ceremony, but now it's a festival. New money now, so you gotta move a decimal. Presidential suite, and it's looking all congressional. I'm so delectable, pull your queen card, cause mine is a collectible. Better mind your business and stay off my genitals. Probably make them high, cause my body's like an edible. Wait, let me stop, cause I'm trying to be professional. Damn. I know that's what y'all said when you heard that verse. I know, right? Y'all was like, damn. Respectfully though, we on Victoria Island. Like a gullah sun on my melanin. Working on my color, bubblegum pink fit.